Most men think that climbing the career ladder is about being an expert. So they stack education and certifications. They know the most acronyms. They speak in technical code that makes everyone else nod like they really understand. Truth is, that'll keep you stuck in a box. And I always say hashtag no boxes. I only live in boxes. The underrated move, again, everything I do is from experience and reverse engineering and observation. The underrated move is to become the bridge, the translator, the interpreter, right? Every company has the same problem. I've noticed this. The engineers don't speak, executives speak, okay? The executives don't speak operations language, and nobody speaks common sense. So the result is that meetings that could qualify as just unnecessary, cruel, and unusual punishment for everybody that's involved. Your edge is if you can turn the complexity into plain English, you instantly become indispensable. So think of it like this: between technical knowledge and leadership, I'm gonna use the example of engineers because every company has an engineer. They might have different names, but everybody is an engineer, right? They're the ones who are excited about the new system updates, right? New tech rolling out. The VP just wants to know if it'll save money or if it'll have us at a liability. All they care about is there a liability? Will it save us money? Will it cost us money? What's the return? Right? Your job is to translate the geek speak into a yes. Right? It'll save us money. Speak that plainly, right? Boom, you're now the adult in the room. You're now the one who's the interpreter, the bridge between vision and execution. CEO looks at PowerPoints, the frontline staff care none about PowerPoints. They live in chaos every day. If you can bridge that gap between this big idea and how that actually looks on a Tuesday morning in the warehouse or in the lobby or whatever industry you're in, you become that rare guy who just gets it on all sides. That's why being in the hospitality industry, some of the best general managers, VPs, and everything started in the dishwashing room because they understand all the moving parts of an operation, especially in a hotel, right? So if you can harness that understanding of what it was like to be that dishwasher and never forget that and be able to translate that once you get to CEO level, that's probably the reason why he got to be a CEO because he never forgot that. Uh, understand that certain departments generally don't talk or generally are at odds. Any operation that you've been a part of, you'll see that there's a divide sometimes between departments. Marketing blames sales, sales blames operations, operations blames IT, IT blames everyone. If you can sit at the table, bring everybody together, or maybe bring everybody together, whether that be physically or in theory or in harmony as far as operating together, you can say, here's what each side is really saying. This is what they're really saying. Okay. This is happening, and they feel like you're the one keeping this from being fixed, or you're the one that's breaking this. This is how they feel. And then you can go to the other side and translate the same thing. That's a superpower. Translation is a superpower because it just multiplies the value of everyone else's expertise. And then you don't have to be the smartest guy in the room because that's typically a futile endeavor. It's always going to be somebody a little sharper and a little smarter than you. So, but rarely will there be somebody who gets it. gets everyone and knows how to translate to everyone. You just need to be the guy who can explain um, to the smartest guy and explain the smartest guy to everyone else. So practically, what that looks like. Um, listen, listen, listen way more than you speak. Observe, okay? Um, really understand what people mean, not just what they say, okay? Learn the jargon and then ditch it altogether. If you can't explain it to your grandma or to your 5-year-old child, you don't understand it yourself. And nobody's impressed when you make things sound more complicated than they are. Really noteworthy when people can make complicated things sound very simple. Because as when you distill most things down to first principles, there is a simplicity to everything. The next step to that is I always talk about politics, building alliances. You know, people trust the guy who makes their life easier, who can be the bridge between their department and the next. You'll be shocked how many doors open when you become the go-to interpreter between groups. Very valuable. I first read about this concept in a book called Networking with the Affluent by Thomas Stanley, I want to say. So check that out if you can. Um, and then another just aside is not being the smartest guy in the room, but not necessarily being the class clown either, but using humor, well-timed jokes, because that can diffuse tension faster than a 60 slide deck. Don't be the clown, but don't be the stiff either. You know, said men love being the guy with all the answers, but in today's world, because the answers, typical answers, are at our fingertips, right? The real power is being able to be the guy with the right words. Expertise gets respected, but translation is promoted. Okay, so be the bridge. That's how you start becoming another cog in the wheel and start being the machine that can't run without. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. Peace and blessings.